I think if you build something different in an existing neighbourhood or established neighbourhood, you invite reactions, and that reaction can vary from a mild criticism to praise to violent aggression. And I think in this house we've had everything. We've even had someone fire at the tower, and we've got a couple of bullet holes through it.
I've always had a good imagination, and that's affected my work. I imagine things beyond recognition. Some of them were a bit corny, but I kept imagining things, so I'd try a lot of things out. I wasn't frightened to try things out. It houses and visited by quite a number of people. I see it as a community complex. I also see it as a model which questions suburbia. Suburbs have to be converted into something different, and this might be one of the models which, is a model which may help people think differently. Every space you create should be positive. I mean, we have so many spaces in New Zealand building which are dreadful to be in. The space between two neighbours and the garden fence is not a very pleasant space. So it's those sorts of things I wanted to avoid in this exercise. And I think we've done it. Quite often people don't see them, They might feel them, but you have to keep driving the message home in some form or other. I'm influenced by everyone I see. As one of my partners said, if I'd been a woman, I would have been the village bike. I tend to be a free thinker, and there's no one really who stands out as enveloping me with an outside influence. I'm not a very good reader of architectural publications, for instance. I see things which I feel that I need to improve on, and many of the ways that architects put things together I really admire, but they are the sorts of things that you actually kick yourself for not being able to do as well sometimes. One of the least measures of good architecture is style. Style is something that I've never ever thought was important, and especially with architecture, which is a background art. It's something which receives people's sort of emotions and other people's bits and pieces. It can always change, then fashion and style seems to be totally inappropriate. The question which you ask more of yourself than anything is, what if? So you will stay awake thinking about a pathway or a staircase or a room or the sunlight or the darkness or something like that. After moving it through your mind for a long period of time, you will come to a pattern, and then in the morning you might go and draw that pattern, or that pattern will stay with you for months or years, and that pattern will keep repeating again, and then you're able to put it down. It's like solving puzzles in a way, you know, and you just keep at it and keep at it, and so it's irritating sometimes, but then there's all of a sudden you know you've solved it, and some of the puzzles are much harder than others because they involve other people's minds as well as yours. I'm not afraid to think continually about the big picture and how we might affect that big picture to the benefit of a greater number of people. And that's what urban design does. So it's about the context rather than the object. And that's critical if we're going to build better cities. We do have the right to actually sort of look at the space left over after we build the buildings just as much as the buildings we build. So urban design is about context, you know, and the context of the buildings to me is far more important than the buildings themselves. So the space left over is more important than the buildings that you create. With imagination, it's like bringing your dreams into reality. I mean, it's a bit like thinking of the most bizarre things and then testing them in people. So you give conditions which you may or may not think they'll accept, and by doing that you open the horizons a little bit more, and from the ridiculous and bizarre to be quite sensible is always important. Sometimes we underestimate people's ability to cope with things which actually challenge them, and most people do need challenging. I think it is important to realise that sort of dreams can be sort of achieved in a funny way.
What would you like in a film about you?
I really don't know. I suppose, you know, just the things that I enjoy doing. I suppose being with people, some sort of physical contact, drinking, laughing. I suppose it's just when you're with people.